And today, what we want to talk about is I'm always assuming that you have secrets, that you have knowledge that maybe you've already said on your channel, but maybe not. And in this particular case, everybody's laser focused on Cybertruck. And so I want to talk to you about Cybertruck. I mean, by now you certainly know exactly what day it's going to be handed over, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I can tell you the hour and the minute. No, I don't use my time travel abilities to dial in with such precision, because whenever I try and place bets accordingly, the odds makers in Vegas figure out I'm a time traveler. I've been banned, so it's not worth it. So some new news as of today is we have seen 9 of them out in the delivery lot with car covers. Now, the car covers make it so you can't tell for sure what it is, why it could be anything that's shaped like a giant 20-foot triangle. It could, who knows? But the fact that they're in the delivery lot says something new. And Joe Techmeyer, with his new drone, was able to zoom in and see that these actually have VIN numbers on them. So these are no longer candidate vehicles. These are almost certainly release vehicles. Now, you can put a VIN number on a prototype, but that's not necessarily required. So these, and you wouldn't make 9 pre-release candidates. And these are just 9 together. This isn't even all of them. There were 2 more inside that he could see. So that means the line is in motion. Now, in Shanghai, they got up to hundreds, maybe 1,000 or 2 vehicles before deliveries began.
Right. On the model.
On the Model 3.
3, right.
On the Model Y, we didn't get as good of information. They may have been moving them off site, or we just weren't paying attention. But this is also a very different line. So the first bit of exciting news is real production vehicles are being produced.
Yes.
These are almost certainly saleable models. The next thing is I saw some really, boy, I just can't come up with a polite way of putting it, but some really terrible analysis this morning saying, well, these are all clearly it was on Twitter, I think, somebody said, oh, these are clearly hand built. Okay, well, first of all, they're covered, so they're not clearly anything.
Anything, yeah.
But why would you think they're hand built? That doesn't make any sense at all. So they're not clearly hand built. Well, stainless steel is famously difficult to work with. Yes, that's why they only put straight lines in them. That's why they don't have a grained finish. They've taken all the parts that are difficult about stainless and removed them. And another one I saw was, oh, genius, because the cabin requires rust proofing. They've had to paint it. Well, now we've skipped all the savings from paint. And that's just not true. The big hassle with paint is once you paint it, you have to let it dry and cure and all that. And then you got to get the doors to still be the same ones in case the color doesn't exactly match, which can happen. So this isn't a finish coat. This is just basically primer. This is just a coat of paint. It's not critical if it gets scratched when it's being produced, if you get little swirls in it, if there are imperfections. It can get the 20-minute dry and move on. It doesn't need the 24-hour cure. And so there's no colors to worry about. You just get it coated, and that's good enough, and on she goes. So almost all of the big hassles with a paint job are skipped, and because it's a much smaller area and only the middle section, the cabin, is being painted, it goes much quicker, and so that concern is also alleviated. Now, what we still have not seen is the pricing and the specs.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think we might get to know those perhaps even before the car enters production, before it's delivered. So you may get to find out what the price is before you take delivery.
Yeah, we would think.
We would hope.
So typically, I was trying to remember, and I didn't bother to go back and look. Maybe you have a better memory, or maybe you've looked. Typically, I think what we have the handoff to some employees, and that's usually an event.
Yes.
And typically, we would be alerted to that event some weeks at least ahead of time.
Okay, I have an answer.
Okay.
One of my fans, one of my viewers, received a notification from Tesla Investor Relations saying, hey, just so you know, as you know, as a shareholder, you get invited to upcoming events. Your documents are out of date. Please update them so that when a new event happens, you'll get notified. And that is as close to confirmation that we're going to have that coming as I think we're going to get.
All right, so then we get the announcement, and do you happen to recall whether the announcement generally includes the pricing and the specs?
Oh,
Good question, huh?
it is a good question. I would say not the pricing, and I would say that the two things are not always tethered.
Okay.
I think on Plaid, we knew the pricing well before the event was announced. I think on most cars, we knew the pricing and the specs. We knew the specs ages in advance.
Yeah.
So it's very unusual this time. So I think it's going to be, it's going to happen quickly.
So
And-
speculation on Twitter. Speculation on X, formerly known as Twitter, yesterday was, well, with the Model 3 Highland coming out so close to the Cybertruck, maybe it's a dual event.
I would say that's ridiculous.
Other than that, how do you feel?
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? They don't run ads. They need these events. These events are at least 30 to 50% of what they do for marketing. It is probably 80% of what they do and 30% of the overall marketing package. You and I are a big part of the marketing package. Wouldn't it be great if we got some love? Ha. But they would be crazy to lump them together, to make it a dual event these events aren't expensive, less than $1 million to put on. Why wouldn't they do two of them? Why wouldn't they, spread out as many as they can? But, I've been wrong on those things in the past. It's been a long time. It's been the last and one more thing that we really got, I guess, was the Cybertruck, when we saw the and also the Cyber Quad, which may or may not even be real.
Yeah.
So they haven't been doing combined events in years.
Yeah, all right. So you don't think it'll be a combined event. Now, we also have, of course, two factories. And the speculation was, according to one rumor, that Shanghai would begin producing the new Highlands this morning, Monday morning, which would have been, I guess, about 18 hours ago in China, or 12, whatever it is. I can never keep it straight. Anyway, half a day ago or so would have been morning there. Anything in the ether about whether that actually took place?
No. The information would have been just a few hours old, and I didn't see anything this morning when I got up, but I didn't look for it.
Yeah.
But again, if that starts a day late or a week late, in the grand scheme, doesn't matter.
Right. And then with regard to Fremont, we also have not seen anything that would clearly let us know that the Highland is actually beginning production, or that there's been any kind of shutdown of any significance where they would be making this massive changeover, which Elon said there would be a massive changeover which would short our numbers for the third quarter.
So it is possible that the changeover in Fremont is delayed until Q4, in part because the big expansion of the casting area is still awaiting foundations. And it would be from the time they pour the concrete to the time they can start putting something as heavy as a gigapress on it would be a month. You have to give it a full month of cure. You can use higher test concrete that would reach adequate strength quicker, but they're probably already using the good stuff just because it's a very heavy operation that will be, imparting a lot of force to the ground beneath it. So I haven't seen anything telling me that the changeover in Highland has begun. Doesn't mean it hasn't.
So as a marketing guy, I'm thinking you don't come out with the Highland in China, September 15th, and then all of a sudden you've got 2 months before the Highland in Fremont comes out, and the existing Model 3 becomes, nobody wants it.
Well, the way you get around that is you price the new model, the new one, high enough that there are people who will still buy the old one, even knowing the new one's coming. Because there are people who will say, I'm definitely not going to buy the existing one because it's not the latest, greatest. And other people who will say, oh man, I better get this one before the price goes from 35 to 50,000.
Yeah. So very complicated, a very complicated set of circumstances going forward with a Cybertruck handover needed, with some kind of an event needed for Highland, and then also the promised AI day, all three happening within roughly 90 days. And then what day do we start in Highland? What day do we start in Shanghai making these? What day do we start in Fremont making these? All this is a complex little mystery story here.
It is, and we only need one or two of those to happen for things to be very exciting
Yes.
in Teslaverse. And then the question is there going to be a separate Highland event in Shanghai?
Yeah.
I think there will. Those aren't generally open to the public in the same way that they are here. Those are more industry insiders, employees, friends and family, media. So hopefully that'll happen and happen soon.
All right, and what about any other? Now we had this spec list that Warren Redlick put out yesterday and laughed about, and some of them were silly. So it did look like it might have been somebody's idea of a joke. Did you think it was a joke? Did you think there was anything in it? Do you think that there was any information, any of the rumors about the specs that are worth reporting today?
Well, I don't know if you've ever heard attorneys tell jokes before, but this is on par. I don't know what his deal is. He's convinced it's not real, and anyone who believes otherwise is worthy of ridicule and abuse. And that's well and good. He surely knows better at this point, but his viewers are woefully misinformed and confidently incorrect. And I think that's harmful to having a quality understanding of your investment. And I know it drives engagement, but I wouldn't be excited to do that to my viewers. But there was nothing new in there.
Okay.
Apart from the stuff that he made up, like bioluminescent light headlights, to be, I guess, clever. But it's unfortunate. I don't understand his motivation. I didn't see anything there that rose to the level of newsworthy, and he admitted as much in his responses to it that he was in fact just being funny.
Okay, all right. So, and none of the other rumors with regard to specs have attracted you recently. There's nothing.
I didn't spend a lot of time focusing on that post because it wasn't a serious post.
I meant anything else that's coming in. Anything else? Nothing. Okay.
Yeah, we've covered it quite a bit.
Yeah,
we'll know soon enough.
Are you still expecting at least one or two surprises?
Surprises?
Yeah.
No, I've had enough peeks behind the curtain. I'm confident I know what it's going to be.
Okay, all right. And none of those, and you can't, and they'd have to kill you if you released any of those.
Well, no, I've said that it's going to have no stocks, no blinker or other stocks. It's going to have the Prindle up above the mirror. It's going to have, we believe it's going to have the front and rear castings, the structural battery pack. We believe it's going to be substantially cheaper to build, and we've also seen that the interior is going to be more of a cloth interior rather than Alcantara. So, and that one I can't speak to the veracity of. I only saw it on Twitter, so I don't have any firsthand accounts that would confirm that.
Right.
But yeah, it's a new car.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. There were some other competitive.
Sure.
Things coming out. You said you had.
Sure. So when we were talking about Cybertruck, the big question is, how well is it going to do in the market? Can it unseat the legacy guys? And you may have noticed, you saw this morning, Sawyer Merritt was reporting, on Twitter that GM is going to have their Silverado base edition out in Q4.
Yeah.
They are rushing it to market. It is not what I would call ready. Certainly not to the point they want it to be. The battery pack is over 200 kilowatt hours. It's a $30,000 battery. There's no, even at the $80,000 they're pricing it with no options, no creature comforts. They're just rushing it to market. They don't want Cybertruck in there. And you know, everybody, all the big guys are rushing as quick as they can to get these cars out. So the other big example today was Ford Electric Explorer for the European market has been delayed by another year. It will come out hopefully summer of 24. And it's lovely. It looks like a slightly smaller Ford Explorer with a front end that hints that it's electric, but it's not a Ford. It's built on the VW MEB platform. Mm-hmm. The VW, whatever the VW platform is, it's built by Volkswagen. It's just rebadged. But Volkswagen is, Ford says, well, the battery requirements have changed in Europe, and that's why we're slowing down. We're going to get different, better batteries, whatever. And I don't buy that for a second. I think Volkswagen may have said, look, we're cell constrained, and we got to sell our cars first.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on there. So in terms of Cybertruck competition, is the Explorer an electric Explorer competition? Yeah, I'd say it is. It's got utility. It's got it's 5 seats. It's got a lot of the things that you would expect from it, from something that is about like a Cybertruck. And so, yeah, I think I think the panic is starting to set in Detroit at least, but we shall see.
We shall see. All right. Well, of course, as always, we come to you for, that special sauce, the special stuff that just nobody else seems to know. And people comment that way in the comment section too. They're like, yeah, Brian, he knows it all.
Took a long time to get that reputation.
Well, yeah, of course. And you should keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I should. Boy, I should work on that.
All right. So, Brian, thank you as always for being on. You guys need to follow him. The information's right there below his face. My Tesla weekend is well, kind of. It's actually the other way.
On my screen, it's right there.
It is? I see.
You'll see.
Maybe we'll see. I never know which way to point with my cards or anything else. Where are those things? Anyway, Brian, thanks for being on. Folks can follow you on Twitter at 4K Podcast, My Tesla Weekend for the YouTube channel, and also like, for sure. Comment. You also, not only do you normally get more views, but you also get more comments because you're 3 fans. They all come in and they just comment away. And so it's always great to see so many good comments. So please, all you 3 fans, please do your thing. All right.
And do leave comments because got one now because I often come in and check the comments even on videos that are not on my channel. I enjoy it. It's how I get smarter, you guys.
I've seen that. Thank you so much for doing that. And I'm sure that everybody appreciates that you come in and help out on that. All right, Brian, it's been great. See you next time. And to all of you out there, thanks for stopping by.